Alright, perfect. Oh, don't judge. We're about to cry here. Hey guys, it's Perk, and we are back with Storytime Saturday, and of course we are back with the heart-wrenching story that is Narcissu. So, honestly, there's not much. If you guys even slightly watched what happened last episode, you guys already know we're at a point where we're about ready to cry. So, we're gonna jump right back into this right where we left off. But before we do anything else, of course I gotta tell you guys I'm drinking Thai tea this time, along with handy dandy trusty waters. So, that's what you guys will be seeing me drink throughout this entire episode. But, all that being aside, let's jump right back into it. Out in the world, it was in the middle of what was called the examination season. As always, the two of us were watching the television today. It's boring, isn't it? Indeed. An exchange that couldn't even be called a conversation. There were days where the two of us only meaninglessly passed the time. Speaking of which, for you, when was it? Today. I see. It's today, eh? Here, the today we spoke about was what she had told me before her temporary discharge. We might not see anymore. We might not meet anymore. That's right. Even if she were to once again return to the 7th floor, just once more was probably the limit. In that time, surely I would have also be coming and going between home and this place. For the two of us, that a timing existed for us meeting again was quite unthinkable. Did you decide? That which do you want to die at thing? No, not yet. I see. She nodded in a slightly lonely way. That expression was probably because she was someone going on to their second temporary discharge. While I have yet to realize things, the doctors have not discussed my first temporary discharge. That reminds me. In the end, did she decide on her own answer for herself? Pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter. Setsumi, the arrangements are done. Coming here and speaking was some older lady. Most likely it was the girl's mother. To me, since I was sitting next to her, the mother bowed her head slightly. Well, it's about time we'll be going. Are you ready? Well then, excuse us. Once again, giving me a small bow, the lady made to leave the place. And then she stretched out her hand to the girl that was her daughter. But the girl didn't make to leave the place. Even when her mother tugged on her hand for some reason, she didn't make to stand for the folding chair. What's wrong, Setsumi? It hurts a bit. Eh? What hurts? Where? Your chest? Stomach? Chest. Wait here. I'll go call the doctor now. Stock sounds. Gotta love them. In a rush, making a slapping sound with her guest slippers, the lady ran towards the nurse's station. Left in that place was the girl still hunched over in the folding chair, and me. Her condition, or its progression, I knew absolutely nothing about. The things that I knew were her name, blood type, O. Only the things that were on her white bracelet. However, we were residents of the 7th floor, and at least She was worse than me. Say, until the doctors come, want to lie down there? As I spoke, I pointed to the couch. It was something that was placed in the corner of the room before. Where's the couch? There's no couch here. Anyway. Look, I'll support your back. It's nothing. I'm already fine. With just that reply, she quickly stood up on her own. Hey, you. Hey, you. Don't force yourself. Faster than I could finish, quickly, she walked out into the hall. Night after the lights were put out, as always, holding a book of manga, unable to sleep, I wandered around the hospital. And then with the lights off, the pitch dark lounge. There, I found her figure. Yo, you're here again? What's wrong? Feeling bad again? Not particularly. Of course. While looking out the window, that was all the girl replied with. In the end, it seemed that the girl's temporary discharge had been postponed. With that, I didn't know when the next opportunity would be, but most likely the postponement was not in a few days, but weeks. Say, I'm just wondering. But today, were you faking your sickness? Well, the term faking sickness itself might have been a bit strange, since, after all, we couldn't really be said to be in a normal condition. The important thing is you didn't want to go on temporary leave. Disleave? That's a thing. I don't understand your meaning. Well, you won't have any more after, right? To that question, she remained silent and gave no reply. From before, she had repeatedly asked me which place I planned to die in. And to that, I had not decided, while the girl had said she didn't like home or the 7th floor. You really don't have another place to go, do you? If so, what about it? No, nothing. In the usual lounge, now pitch dark. As always, without even looking my way, the girl sat looking out the window. Even though it was 11 o'clock, in this place called a hospital, most of the lights were already out. This place was where ordinary and extraordinary days met. Moreover, we were residents of the 7th floor. Already we could choose nothing outside of the 7th floor and home. From that dark 7th floor window, the girl continued looking out at the outside world, the ordinary world. Still, the buildings and houses shone brightly with light. The roads, homes were filled with figures of people hurrying home. I myself had only barely realized my situation, but already I was a resident of the 7th floor, a person of the extraordinary world. Probably, I was unable to return to that other world. The me whose time has stopped. Numerous seasons, white overcast skies, pass without even the need to exchange words with anyone. In the beginning, from the window, I watched lively children go to school, people walking quickly. When I was tired of that, I watched the television. There was nothing else to do. Nothing else I could do. Even if outside the window it was snowing, the screen had the sun. Without cold, heat, or pain, a dream world spread before my eyes. I sought peace in imaginations. I only greatly increased my knowledge, simply accumulating more and more meaningless trivia. At some point, the things shown on the television lost their reality. Next, in books, in games, and then family. Finally, even my own body, as if watching some stranger, I lost the ability to understand it as real. That was why when I came to the 7th floor, I wasn't surprised. If I closed my eyes, always the world would disappear. That's why I thought I was fine with it. Made myself think I was fine. And soon, I would be discharged a second time. The next time I come here, I might not be able to walk on my own. Even though I knew that, I felt my unresting self to be wretched. I felt myself who didn't even have a destination to be ridiculous. Stopping time, stopping my heart, making a large scar on my chest. And even so, even though I had lived 22 years, I thought it was pathetic. January 19, 2005, the 7th floor. After a few more days, the cloudy days ended yesterday, and the high winter sky spread wide. Surprisingly, my father came to visit in the beginning. He had a pained look on his face. However, he said nothing about my insurance. At that time, his eyes weren't sad. Well, I have to talk a bit with the doctor, saying that my father went down the hall. He seemed to be heading to the place from before, the gloomy conference room. Once again, I was alone in the hospital room. With nothing to do, I stretched my hands out to the weekly magazines bought for me from the store. Oh man. They were there along with the fruits and juices that he had always brought when visiting. Next to the basket with fruit inside, just in front of the melons that I hated. What the hell was that? Oh. What came into view were car keys. What? Da-da-da-da. Shining, silvery keys. It was the coupe father was so proud of with the interior he apparently had modified. Before I had asked on a whim to borrow it, and I had been quickly turned down. It was the keys to that car. And in my pajamas pocket, the driver's license. That day, even though it had lost its debut, I had continued to carry the license. It was proof of my once ordinary days. Clack. Silently, I grasped the keys. I just went and did it. Even I didn't know the exact reason why. Simply, I just did that. It was like watching a single scene on television somewhere. Then, taking the few days' worth of medicine that I had been given, I just placed them in a big bag from the convenience store and headed down the hall. Slipping by the nurse's station, I quickly continued my walk towards the elevator. In my right hand, a plastic bag. In my left hand, the car keys. In my chest pocket, the license that was supposed to have lost its debut hid. In front of the lounge. The next thing that came into sight was the figure of the girl, as always, watching television. Sitting in a cheap folding chair. Today, she was also boredly looking at the screen. Hey you, is that interesting? Does it look like it? Nope, not at all. The usual exchange. Excuse me. Her eyes were, as usual, seemingly looking far away. Well then, shall we go together? Eh? While showing her the car keys in my hand, I continued speaking. I also don't like home. Ta-ta-ta. I also don't like the 7th floor. So, shall we go together? With that word, the girl stood up from the folding chair. Lightly, her long hair swayed and brushed the tip of my nose. And so the girl also packed a few days' worth of medicine into a plastic bag. Then the two of us placed the 7th floor behind us. I turned off the boring television. The shrilly laughing voice of the host was silenced. The two of us, in pajamas, got on the elevator and descended from the highest floor to the first. When we came to the first floor, instead of the entrance for emergencies, normal admittance and discharges, we deliberately left from the outpatient entrance and headed to the parking lot. Whoosh. The moment we left the building, a cold winter blast struck us in the face. In the parking lot, with a few obstructions, the wind felt even stronger. Together, while peering around cautiously, we walked around the parking lot. Then, after searching a while, we finally found Dad's car. A silver coupe. The car Dad was so proud of that he even changed the interior. Quickly, I inserted the key and opened the door. Click. Hey, you can get in. All right. Slam. I sank myself into the deep driver's seat. For the girl in the passenger seat, because of her height, even if she sat normal, it was difficult for her to see the front. Next, I put the key in my hand into the ignition. As I turned it, I stepped on the accelerator. It was all exactly like what the training center had taught. Vroom vroom. In moments, the sound of the engine reverberated in the interior. After that, release the parking brake and just let go of the clutch. With this, we can go anywhere. Should be able to go anywhere. Well, here we go. The girl gave a smug nod, and in response, I shifted into second gear. And quietly, the car set off. As the chassis rattled from the unfamiliar clutch, slowly it went on. It's shaky, isn't it? Ah, it's the first time in this car. It's the first time in this car, after all. And while we're on the subject, it's the first time driving since getting my license. I see. Eventually, it appeared before us, the hospital parking lot exit. Just beyond it was a large road. I pulled the car out into the lightless intersection. I don't know why. Honk honk. From behind came the sound of car horns blaring at us as we suddenly pulled into the lane. The unfamiliar clutch ground when the gears shifted while the silver coupe ran its first fits and starts. Perhaps the cars behind were especially angry. It didn't seem like they would stop honking for a while. Even so, without paying them any particular mind, I drove. The feeling of reality was somehow thin. Hey you. What? Are you afraid? Being afraid would be better. No, not really. Still morning, the sun was high. Looking beyond the windshield, the January winter sky was painted so blue, it somehow felt sorrowful. It wasn't like we had a destination. That day under the winter sky, the car swayed with unfamiliar clutch. The day in our pajamas, the two of us aimed for the national road. That winter day, January 19th, 2005, the Ibaraki Mito Highway. So they real deal just left the parking, like they real deal just left. Like that's crazy. They said, fuck this shit, we're out, and got in the car, took his dad's car and just off. That's crazy. I didn't see that happening. I really didn't. But fuck it, they said, let's do. Oh wait though. Oh, the realization and pessimist in my mind just thought about something. Oh, this is gonna get bad. It's gonna get bad. Oh man. But you know what? We're gonna enjoy this happiness that's happening right now. That's what we're gonna do. So, around when that so very high sun was turning orange, we continued to drive, simply at random. The car continued running. And then when the area turned into an unfamiliar place, I'm stopping for a bit. Finally, I brought the car to the stop. Out of the city area, by the roadside somewhere, a lonely place that didn't seem to have much traffic. Stopping the car in place I didn't even know the name of. I started inspecting the interior. If there were things that would even be the slightest bit useful, we had rushed out without any preparation, but I could see that we would be in trouble very soon. While thinking about that, first I searched the dashboard in front of me. There really isn't much there. A few hundred yen worth of what appeared to be change from the expressways. The rest were just a few books of manga and a disposable camera. It wasn't like we had a destination, but it seemed that the navigation system installed in the car was broken too. And also the amount of money I had was about 8,000 yen. It's like 80 bucks, I want to say. If I'm correct, I want to say it's about $80. While leaving, I hurriedly stuffed my life savings into my pockets. With that, and adding in the change in front of me, I could barely make 9,000 yen. Of course, it wasn't like I had been expecting to find anything in the car from the start. But with this budget, we'd probably be in trouble really soon. I could definitely believe that we wouldn't find a decent lodging. Even saying that, I doubt the girl had any money. Is there something wrong? No, it's nothing. Oh well, it didn't matter. I should have known this from the start. To begin with, it wasn't like we had thought up arrangements or plans before acting. Instead of that, right now, I wanted to move. I didn't want to sit still. Under the now darkening sky, once again, the silver coupe ran. By the way, are you hungry? As I drove, I spoke to the one sitting next to me. Thinking about it, we hadn't eaten since this morning. For now, let's go to a convenience store? No. Hey, don't be so picky. And compared to the 7th floor's food, it absolutely has to be better. Tit-tat-tat. At my words, the girl returned with silence. Those downcast eyes, their line of sight was on the pink pajamas that she wore. Ah, now that you say that, that's right. As I spoke, I looked down at my own clothes. Certainly in these pajamas, wherever we went, we'd stand out too much. It wasn't like it was fine inside the car either, but in any case, we had to do something about these clothes. Making that decision, I turned the wheel from the main road and headed into town. After running a while, the place that we came to was some street I didn't know the name of. Surely it has to be near some station since it was a street where about the number of people could be seen. In a place like this, you'd think there'd be one. While glancing around the area searching, I moved the car on, slightly raising my body in the seat while driving. Ah, I found one. In a short while, I spotted a coin-operated laundromat. It appeared quite run down and was in the first floor of a small apartment building. This might just be perfect. A short distance away from the entrance, I parked the car. Alright, just wait a bit. Slam. Leaving the girl who was making a puzzled face, I headed to the coin-op laundromat on the foot. Just past the automatic doors, my nose picked up the scent of bleach and detergent. Inside it was just as run down as the exterior, filled with old washing machines and dryers. There's no one around. I muttered those words into the empty shop. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Apparently I have to do all my own sound effects as well, but it's just because it's amazing, right? Amazing folly. There, raising a low sound while spinning, was a single unit in use. Quickly approaching the machine, I started to check the timer. It looked like 200 yen had been inserted and it was set for 30 minutes. Also, it had only been going for 5 minutes. Most likely until it was done, the person was passing time somewhere. With that deduction, once again from the entrance, I looked around for someone that seemed like that sort of person. Then, making sure no one was inside, I placed my hands on the revolving dryer's door, and suddenly it opened. Ka-ching! Open in the middle of a drying cycle, the machine was forced into a stop temporarily. Ignoring the blast of heat and damp air, I took out a mass of half-dry clothes from inside. Then, carrying it just like that in both hands, I looked around once more before I put the shop behind me. Click, slam. He just stole somebody's clothes, just a bunch of clothes. Seeing both of my hands filled with laundry, the girl raised a bit of a surprised voice. However, paying no heed to that, I threw them in the back seat. Well, we're going. Vroom vroom, motherfuckers. With one hand on the wheel, I eyed the pile of laundry I had thrown in the back. At a glance, there it was, all flashy looking jeans, sweatshirts, all the sizes seemed to be on the large side. They were still wet, but inside the car with the heat from the vents, it'd probably be dry soon. Later, change into something you like. Da-da-da. For those words also came no particular reply. She simply looked at the pile of laundry. Well, what else could we do? I know. Even for me, it wasn't like I did this because I liked it. The money that we had wasn't like we were sent on an errand with it. However, with what we had on hand, buying new clothes would have been a tight situation. When the face of the moon really came out and we had driven for a while, I stopped the car near some park somewhere. It was most likely some kind of children's park, tucked in the middle of the residential neighborhood. In the middle of that, I began to search through the clothes stolen earlier. We got some Bonnie and Clyde type sickness shit here. Like, imagine Bonnie and Clyde, but with deadly infections, and that's what the hell is going on right now. Most likely because of the heating in the car, the laundry was totally dry. Looks like it really is all guy stuff. Exactly as when I had glanced at them, it was all gaudy jeans and sweats. Most likely it was someone about my age and size-wise, something close. And then, while sitting in the driver's seat, I grabbed a pair of suitable jeans and sweatshirts and started to change. Hey, you should change into something too. They're all too big. Then you're going to always be in pajamas? Alright. With a reluctant reply, the girl took hold of a pair of jeans and opened the door. Hey, where are you going? To change. With just that answer, she began walking towards the restroom that could be seen in the park just ahead. Da-da-da. Click. Hey there, that was quick. In moments, the girl returned. The pink pajamas that she had been wearing up until now was in her hand, and she had changed into jeans and a white sweatshirt. Well, it's good that you managed to put something on. Da-da-da. There was no reply. It was something I saw coming. The size was too much and draped rather heavily on her. Since the jeans were too long, the legs were rolled up a number of times, while the top sweatshirt was in the same way folded over. The pajamas were better. Well, don't say that. It's a bit warmer this way. It's that. At my words, she just gave me the slightest dissatisfied look. I guess something more feminine would have been better. Not particularly. The girl's usual response. Even though I had thought she was dissatisfied with the poofy sweatshirt, soon she returned to being expressionless. I don't know what that was supposed to be. Suddenly, it started raining. As if it had forgotten how to stop, rain spilled from the cold January sky. Looking from inside, the countless raindrops on the windshield. One by one, they would grow too big to stick. A number would gather, overflow, and turn into a rivulet. Then, while flowing down, they would involve other rivulets and flow even more. The two of us just sat gazing at the sort of rain from inside the car. In some parking lot somewhere, a lonely place in the mountains. Having finished shopping at a convenience store, we were spending the night. On the menu for each of us, 2 nigiri, 500 milliliters of pokeri, and half an order of fries. I want to look this stuff up just to see what it looks like. Looking for my phone. Sorry. Oh, cool. I just fucked up everything, probably. So, I do have to apologize. In reaching for stuff, I fucked up the recording, or where my recording settings stood. So instead of trying to resync and blah blah blah, we're gonna cut it there, because that's actually not that bad of a place to stop. So guys, I appreciate you watching through, and holy crap, this took a turn. I didn't expect it to change into a Bonnie and Clyde health impaired situation. I don't know what the fuck to call this shit. I didn't expect that to happen at all. If anybody expected that, please let me know, but I didn't. I know for sure I didn't. But I didn't do as much crying as I expected to, which means my joke in the beginning about toilet paper just seems fuck. Anyway, guys, that was really cool. I'm really happy that this is doing some sort of turn. I can only think that it's going to probably jam us in the heartstrings later, but it's all fine. We'll deal with it when we get there. Guys, this has been Perk. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I can't wait for the next episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.